Sweet Baby Inc. is a consultancy that pushes leftist messaging in games and has become a pariah.
What leftist messaging is in God of War Ragnarok?
Any game that this company touches fails immediately.
You can criticize DEI inclusivity, but God of War failed immediately?
I think this graph lets you see exactly what is wrong with the game industry.
By this logic, the original Tomb Raider is too woke. That's the argument he's making.
Zelda. This one is very short.
I don't know how you're going to come out of here saying that this is woke. You play as a literal twink in this game. What are you talking about?
The Zelda games have always had a male protagonist, but of course, woke Nintendo had to ruin that. The new Zelda game stars Princess Zelda because she don't need no man.
Let's just get this started. A while back, we watched this Andy Pants guy just have like this big old meltdown about wokeness in video games, and then we saw him talk to the Act Man. And it was just like weird. I really don't understand. I truly, like 30-year-olds having crybaby meltdowns about wokeness in video games. We live in a time where there's more video game availability than ever, and things are shifting. If you don't like the game, just don't play it. It really is that simple. These games are like, it's okay to complain about like maybe your favorite video game and not enjoying the direction they're going into. But like, you guys are just complaining. It's like everything. Don't play the game. Not every game is made for you. Like, I don't play Hello Kitty Island Adventure because it's not made for me. I play, like, God of War and stuff. So, whatever. But I'm curious. He made a video somewhat recently. Can I prove that video games went woke? Yes. I don't know what that means. What wokeness to these guys means everything that's, like, slightly left. Like, if there's a gay person or a fat person in the game, it's too woke. God forbid you just turn off the game. There's just so many games right now. That's just how it is. The market's flooded. It's the most available time to make games and purchase games. So there's tons of games. Like, that's literally all it is. There's just a ton of games because of that. But let's get going.
So a few weeks ago, I had the Act Man on my stream to have a casual chat about wokeness in video games. He denied that women in games are becoming uglier.
So from what I remember, and you can go back and watch my video if you want, he didn't really deny that the women are getting uglier. He just said, he acknowledged that, like, yeah, games are going in a different direction where some games are going to have less conventionally attractive girls in them. Cool. Who cares? Like, why does every female character have to be conventionally attractive? Like, they just don't have to. Some of them can be supporting characters that just exist for some other reason. It doesn't have to be that deep. Like the dwarf girl from God of War. Not everybody has to be sexable. Okay.
He denied that games are becoming less masculine.
And then, yeah, I don't think he denied that either. Yes, of course games are becoming less masculine because not all games are about masculinity. Like, you have your masculine games still. You have your God of Wars, your Warhammers. These games are masculine. But some people don't want a hyper masculine game. I love hyper masculinity. Like, I get off to hyper masculine, man. I get like riled up with like traditional hyper masculinity. Like, of course, like I like that male, fantasy, the male fantasy, power fantasy, like of the Kratos power fantasy. Of course, guys like that, but not all the time. Some people like different stuff that has a different tone to it. That's why we have games like Genshin Impact, which I will never play. That doesn't have the male power fantasy, but it's for a different audience, and it keeps them out of my games. Go play Genshin Impact and stay out of my games. There's nothing wrong with that. There literally is nothing wrong with that. So comparatively, they might be getting less masculine, but that's just because there's games that have a little bit more femininity to them, and femininity is not fundamentally bad in its virtue of its existence. In the real world, femininity typically means somebody who is like more empathetic and understanding. I think a good femininity and masculinity need each other to coexist.
And he denied that games are becoming more woke.
I mean, I guess, but you think woke is like wokeness. I don't know what you like. Wokeness to you is anything slightly left. I don't sit here and like obsess about a couple of gay people in the game. I just don't care. If it's too much, I just don't play it. I don't care.
A few days later, he made a video making fun of the idea that there was wokeness in games.
Well, he made fun of, you got to see this guy, by the way, got destroyed so hard in that conversation. He tried to DMCA strike Act Man. That's what he did. He tried to DMCA strike Act Man for posting this conversation both of them were in. So just to be clear, this is a little bit of a history rewrite.
And got absolutely bodied by his followers. Finally,
who cares what followers think?
I invited the Act Man to come back on my stream and have an actual debate.
Why would he do that after he trucked you?
And of course, he pussied out and canceled. So
that's not really pussying out. I mean, why would he talk to you again? You're a joke. Like, you're a 30-something-year-old man who used to, like, do this to like the wokeness in video games, and now all of a sudden you found the market of just saying just dumb shit. Like if you guys look at this guy's thumbnails, this is all he talks about. Gay of duty. I talked to someone inside Ubisoft, probably not even the person. It's worse. All this is like, oh look, gay, black, and disabled. It's just like, bro. It's literally this. This is the audience. This is the guy that said Synthetic Man was good. This is the Synthetic Man audience. This is the 30-year-old audience that is single and legitimately lives with their. Oh, he's 40. Holy fuck! And like lives with his mother, and he makes games about how gay everything is. Oh, this is gay, and then he. It's like, what the fuck? It's just so obsessive. This is your whole platform. He's actually 41. That's pathetic. You don't feel pathetic that your entire life centralizes around this weird grift, which is clearly a grift because he used to be fine with this in his 30s. Like you're gonna change. That's weird. I don't understand. But hey, listen, man. Whatever catches you the bag, whatever makes you feel like you can wake up in the morning. I don't know.
So whatever, y'all. I'm done with the guy. I'm just glad he finally exposed himself as
feeling pretty gay at the Seattle Pride Parade
as the homo that he is.
And just to be clear. Show me, dude. I got him pretty gay right now, dude. Show me something, Andy Pants. What are you doing, dude? What are you talking about? Why don't you show your face ever? You can't call people gay and try to like be, you can't call people gay and try to criticize people if you don't even show yourself in your profile. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
But the real thing I want to talk about in this video is this simple question: are games becoming more woke?
Like, no, not really. Games just have some more inclusivity in some of them. Just don't play them. Who cares?
If you have your eyes open and have played more than one game in your life, it's pretty obvious they are.
Bro, this is the same thing as Synthetic Man. He's like a casual passerby gamer that like can't even beat Black Myth Wukong, but then complains about how games are becoming too woke and casual because like normies are playing now. Like, dude, you probably suck a dick at fucking video games.
But just in case anybody disagrees with this simple fact, I'm making a video to show you the most egregious examples of the woke cancer infecting video games.
Why a gay black person in a game? Who gives a fuck?
So first off, we need to define woke because they always say that we can't. Merriam-Webster defines.
It's not like that you can't. It's just that you guys have co-opted woke to mean anything that's slightly left-leaning.
It very clearly. Woke.
That's why I think Synthetic Man was having a meltdown about the most recent Warhammer game having black people in it. That's the whole problem. I'm trying to readjust my tits, sorry.
Politically liberal or progressive, as in matters of racial and social justice, especially in a way that is considered unreasonable or extreme. Woke.
Okay, now what is Marxism, critical race? Dude, we're doing all of it. We're doing all the buzzwords today.
This contains false ideologies within it. Marxism, critical race theory, intersectionality, and many others. But what is wokeness really about? At the bottom of their hearts, woke people hate anything that is good, beautiful, and true.
What does that mean? Good, beautiful, and true. Like, this person obviously is insane over here. That's what he considered a woke person. Too liberal, sure. But now you have to prove that these games are too liberal. Thank you for $5 from Brody. Why don't the games are trash cause woke crowd just reference gay films? What the fuck? Sorry, dude. I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say. Why don't the games are trash cause woke crowd just reference gay films with strong characters and use them as an example of something that can work? Oh, okay. Sorry. That was like a mess. I mean, some games do work. Like if you look at that game like Hades, there's a lot of gay shit in the game Hades. That game is great. There are plenty of games that are fine with the inclusivity of gay, fucking trans, black things, whatever. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm fucking replaying Kingdom Hearts. That game is gay as hell. It's a child's game, okay? Which is so hard on the difficulty. The hardest difficulty is just so cheesy. Like, we've seen games that are like unconventional masculinity. Like, do you think Kingdom Hearts is the most masculine game in the world? No, of course not. But it's like a fun game. It's Final Fantasy and Disney mixed together. If that game came out today, like the first version of it, this guy would be having a meltdown about how things are going into like a negative direction.
Woke people hate beautiful women. They hate masculine men. They hate healthy sexuality. They hate normal people.
Yeah, are you married, man?
You see this last
normal people
week with the trans creative director at BioWare designing a character creator where this is the biggest butt you can have and this is the biggest chest you can have on a woman.
This on a woman? Listen, I don't know what we're referencing. A couple of things. One, this goes. Are you saying this is good or bad?
It's obvious the people who made this hate attractiveness.
So just to be clear, this is the funniest part about this video already. This guy has a meltdown that there are gay or fat people in video games. this is not very fat inclusive. So right off the bat, like, you don't really know where you're going with this whole video. If anything, if this person made them that so you could be super fat, you'd be like, oh, see, they hate healthy people. There's never going to be like there's never going to be, there's no model for this guy's mentality because everything is just like, oh, it's woke and bad. Also, never played this game, don't know what you're referencing. I almost guarantee you this has to do with this specific race. This is like a fucking elf thing. So elves probably just aren't fat, like, in this world. Who gives a shit? I don't know if that's the case, but like, you're so inconsistent.
In females and in males. Another thing woke people hate is diversity.
What?
Say what? Come
I would say woke people sometimes focus too much on diversity.
again, Andrew? Isn't the whole woke movement built upon creating more diversity, equity?
All right. Hopefully his next point's not going to be something like they're not inclusive enough of the mentality that I appreciate, which is over exclusivity, like no gay people or something. What is it?
Inclusion? Well, that's the genius of it. Woke people say they love representation and equality,
okay, yeah,
while
sure.
only pushing for acceptance by a small group of people.
Like, what game? He's referencing like annoying games that failed because they were too woke. Like, that's like this game, though. I don't even know. Nobody even knows what it's called because it's just like a fucking cringe game that nobody liked because it was annoying.
When they talk about equality, I like to ask them this question.
I love how they like hyper represent. It's good to criticize shitty games that are like overly woke, which I believe this is one of them. It's just like an obnoxious like moral masturbation center. Nobody champions this game as being good. It's one example.
Question. Are white men included in the woke movement's definition of diversity?
Well, this guy's gay as hell, first of all. Second of all, yes. Usually white people are in the game. The idea is to include the non-white people more, since white is usually like the standard. I think that they should have white characters in games, especially old white men, because that's what I identify with. All right, everybody wants to feel represented, so.
No. Are religious people included in the woke movement's definition of diversity?
I mean, if religion is in the game, maybe. What?
No. Are big-breasted, beautiful...
Look, he's just using slurs all the time. This whole thing boils down to using slurs and feeling based.
women included in the woke movement's definition of diversity? No. So it turns out woke people actually hate diversity because they despise...
I'm not understanding, because there are plenty of games with white people in them. Religion tends to be indirect in most video games. Like, not super in your face like Christianity or whatever. It typically is like kind of the zealot aspect of historical religion, mixed with a group, like the Brotherhood from Fallout is like an example.
Despise these groups of people and leave them out of games. To
What?
prove to you that these people hate white men, the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a video game consultancy, recently said this.
God of War, but you're... So just to be clear, I haven't played all these games, but like, this is God of War. A white guy is the main character. There's one black person in it. I'm just gonna do like a quick Google search. Okay, I just want to take a couple of looks here. So this is the first one. Alan Wake, the main character, is a white guy. I think Sable is like a weird, just random character. Suicide Squad has white people in it and shark people. Really inclusive. I don't know what the fuck Battle Chasers is. I think that we've already established that you just said that there are no white people in games. Apparently these are characters from Battle Chasers. They look like white and huge tits, by the way. White, huge, love big tits, by the way. Absolutely love big tits. White guy, maybe Asian, I don't fucking know. A lot of white people, big tits. Cool, man. I'm liking this game so far. So there's a lot of games here so far that have white people and big fucking fat tits. So like, how are you going to say that there are no white people or no big tits in games when one of the games on the screen has big tits and like half of these games have at least, like, I know, pretty sure Spider-Man has, I mean, maybe is Spider-Man 2 the one with Miles Morales? I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. They might have a black character there. That's cool. They did what you're supposed to do. Make a new character to make a black character instead of race swap characters. Make a new character that's black. I think that's a great way to interact with creating new characters instead of just race swapping. That's the wrong game. Battle Shapers. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I couldn't read it, dude. Shapers. Fair enough. Okay. Battle Shapers. I mean, I was loving the big tits. I'm going to be honest with you. All right, so it just looks like some fucking, I don't know, brown woman. That's fine. I got excited over the big boobs. Either way, there are white characters in these video games. I don't understand the criticism.
Also,
and this is from the company that used the woke DEI people. Which, by the way, I've already explained this, but I'll explain it again. It exists for a specific reason. That's to maximize profits. The reason is because there are huge lawsuits, especially with Activision Blizzard, where, you know, like a woman was sexually harassed so bad she took her own life. This is like a real thing that happened. Like her news leaked around after she dated one of the people there, and she ended up taking her own life. They had things like a Cosby room at their conventions. It was really fucked up. It was so bad that they got sued for lots of money. And so now there's these DEI inclusivity thing is generally about the people who are working there. And clearly, because if you look at God of War, that doesn't mean that the game's going to suck. It can suck sometimes, but the reason they do inclusivity is because when you have a place full of all one type of person, it's going to go poorly. People get too comfortable. In this instance, it was all like straight white guys, right? And so like women and people of different races, they feel excluded in the workplace. If there's one there, they get super uncomfortable, and it's not good because, again, that's how sexual harassment happens. That's how racism happens. Like, I'm a fucking guy. When I'm hanging out with guys, like, we make sexual comments about girls. It's just a reality, okay? We're not disrespectful, but this is just kind of like what happens. So it's good to implement women because it makes us less comfortable to make those jokes and be a little bit more respectful and humanize the people around it. Same thing with race jokes, dude. Like, if I'm around a bunch of white guys, we're making jokes about fucking race. And if I'm around my non-white friends too, we'll make jokes about race too. But you understand the point. It's just about like, hey, let's have different people from different representations so that there's less animosity and there's like less harassment of people that would go against what you'd consider the status quo. It's not that big of a deal to maximize profits. The DEI initiatives are happening because people were getting relentlessly harassed in these industries when they were the minority in the industry, and that's not a good thing. That's it. So some games, maybe they're getting too woke. Sure, I'm sure that's true in some instances. But generally speaking, when a game is too woke, people just don't buy it. And then that's feedback to the company and they stop fucking around and they will generally produce better stuff. It's fine to criticize specific games, but like every single time. Every time, anytime, now gaming is too woke and terrible. We act like games never used to suck. Angry Video Game Nerd has entire fucking platforms about how horrible old video games were. They were just shit for a different reason, but games have always sucked. Right now, some games suck because not just inclusivity, but sometimes they'll do inclusivity means we don't have to actually put effort into our media, our piece of media. That's like the whole new Star Wars franchise. Episode 7 was pretty decent, but 8 and 9 fucking horrible garbage, right? And I feel like, and I could be wrong, that they focused so much on inclusivity that they didn't give any attention to the actual script, and then the show just sucked. I don't care about inclusivity. I don't like it when they do inclusivity without a solid script, because then it just feels like you're virtue signaling, right? Like the Fallout show was amazing. There was inclusivity. There was a fucking trans person there. You had a female main character. You had a black guy main character. You still had a strong traditional masculine male character in there with the ghoul. I would consider him. That worked out really well, though. They did a really good job implementing diversity without making it horribly bad dog shit. That's what people want. So that's really what it comes down to. But
I don't know why games featuring human characters are still so white and male.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Like, imagine the CEO of Microsoft being like, why are people in games so black now?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we've always had a very white-centric video game character. Second of all, I guess that is a comment that should not be made. I completely agree with that, obviously, but there is a bit of a difference.
So there's an obvious, insane double standard here. This broken, childless woman also said this.
Does this guy have any kids?
Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas.
Yeah, these are inappropriate. This is also from 2014. Did this person... Wait, hold on a second. I just have a legitimate question. This is from 2014, dude. Not for nothing, but listen, if somebody says like the fucking hard R on Twitter from 2014, I'm not going to give a singular fuck. So why would I care about this edgy shit? I'm not trying to be an asshole. This is like inappropriate, but like I don't really care. All right. If it was somebody saying the N-word on like from fucking 2014 working for the studio, you'd be like, come on, it's not that big of a deal. And I agree. I mean, not that it's a good word, but I don't fucking care. So why the fuck am I going to care about this?
But it gets worse. Black Girl Gamers, a racist woke organization,
looking for black women content creators that make up Dungeons and Dragons content for special brand work. Hit us up. What makes this racist? I don't understand.
Has publicly stated,
if this is the example of racism, I'm not really seeing it.
Did this? We will not work with white mid.
Where does it say that?
Imagine any company saying that. Imagine a company
If they're referencing this that says looking for black women content creators that make up Dungeons and Dragons content for some potential brand work, hit us up. Like, yes, obviously they're not looking for white people, but this is like an inclusivity initiative because traditionally in most spaces, especially video games, white guys are typically like the dominant force, especially women are left out and they get harassed relentlessly in video games. This is like fine. I don't really care about this. If replace black with Italian, and I would care just as much. I don't really care about like general representation groups. Black people are generally disenfranchised. If they want to work with like black women or something, like be my guest. I'm not going to consume this. I don't give a fuck about consuming that. But there's a consumer market for that, and it's an underrepresented market. Who gives a shit? Like, why is that a big deal? I don't care.
You're just saying, nope. If you're black, we won't serve you. Danny Ladonders, who was a game developer on this game called Validate, and I think she worked for Ubisoft, specifically said in a video that she doesn't hire white men.
Can we see that? Or are you just saying that? What's the representation of that? I'm just curious about that. Let's see. Because that is a problem to say we explicitly aren't going to hire white men. If it's in this way, that is to exclude white people for sure. If it's saying, hey, we want to add more non-white people, so right now we're not hiring white men, that's different. Attempts to clarify our comments regarding race-based hiring, artist and good friend who worked on the previous validate. Okay. Article about attempted clarification. Where's the original message that she says? I mean, this is like an inappropriate general comment, but I'm not really caring too much about it depending on the context. If she's just saying there's already a lot of white people on this, so we're trying to hire non-white people, I don't really care. I'm fine with like general inclusivity initiatives, especially in like extraordinarily regressive spaces like video game spaces. I mean,
specifically said in a video that she doesn't hire white men. Just to go even further down the rabbit hole, Ubisoft has a mentorship program right now where they said they will not consider you for it if you are a white man.
Oh, where does it say that? Let's read
program that. White men. Just
to be eligible, you must identify as a woman or a non-binary individual, be 18 years or older, currently attend or have graduated in spring 2020, have less than 2 years professional experience in game design or programming. Be legally entitled to work in a country where you're applying. Apply for only one location. Submit individual entry. Team entry card. This doesn't say you can't be a white man. It says you have to be like, well, I guess technically you wouldn't be. But again, this is about like some kind of inclusivity initiative. We want fucking black people and like trans people. That's what they mean by non-binary. Okay, I don't care about inclusivity. Like, we've been doing this forever. There's scholarships that are just for women. There's scholarships that are just for black people. There's scholarships that are just for different groups of people. Nobody really cares that much, except for now when it comes to video games. Like, not really. I don't really care that much.
Just to go even further down the rabbit hole, Ubisoft has a mentorship program right now where they said they will not consider you for it if you are a white man. So guys, as it turns out, the people who rally the hardest against racism and sexism are actually the most racist and sexist. Oops! This clip from a PragerU video also does a really
we're gonna do PragerU? Oh my god.
Really good job of explaining woke thinking.
Critical race theory.
I mean, not for nothing, but there's conservatives even know that the PragerU is like an actual psychotic program. CRT, critical race theory, really just is fundamentally speaking about a conversation about like historical systemic racism and how to fix that in some capacity. Can it go too far sometimes? Sure, anything can. Okay, you shouldn't drink too much milk, guys. But it's really not that deep. Okay, it's not that deep. There are so many different variations of this. Some people co-opt it to say we should fucking get rid of white people. Most people are just like, hey, it's just like, hey, let's teach that racism is bad in schools. And there's a whole conversation to have about that because you need to make sure that you teach the awareness of racism, but you don't want to teach the victim like narrative of it. You want to communicate that you can have that racism historically has existed and has kept down certain groups of people, but you shouldn't use it as a victim complex to not try harder in society, right?
It begins from the assumption that racism occurs in all interactions. Imagine you own a shop and two customers enter at the same time, one white and one black. Who do you help first?
This is just like the very reductionist view of like this racism. This is more about historically how black people weren't considered people till like 1965 and how even though legally you're not allowed to be racist, societally, there are still some acts of racism that echo down today. And a lot of that comes through like outcomes, right? Like black people tend to be significantly poorer based on that historical aspect. And we should figure out a way to deal with that. Do I think that we should focus on race? Not really. I think that generally speaking, we need to empower them like lower and middle class, but the conversation makes sense to have. Okay. This is not really the way that this is manifesting itself in here. So
if you help the black person first, critical race theory would say you did so because you don't trust black people to be left alone in your store.
No, that's not at all. That's not how that works at all. Nobody would do that. The person came in first. This is preposterous.
That's racist.
This is what we call a white victim complex here. This is just as annoying as a black victim complex. This is not real. This is not a real scenario.
If you help the white person first instead, critical race theory would say you did so because you think blacks are second-class citizens.
No, it's not.
That's racist too.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That's critical race theory.
That's not okay. Gotcha.
It can find racism in anything, even if it has to read your mind to do it.
Okay. I should have just let this play without any commentary because it hurts itself in confusion here.
So basically, even if you try to not be racist, according to them, you're being racist. Even if you try to not be sexist, you're being sexist. This is why these people are so useless and evil, is because everything you do, according to them, is racist. Always, because you're
Bro, you just played a PragerU clip to try to make everything seem racist.
a white man.
Okay.
But let's be honest, guys, at the end of the day, this is about power, right? They think
I think it's just about adding people in. So, and this is just a bunch of gay people at a gay pride parade, or who gives a fuck about this?
by calling you racist or homophobic, they have some kind of power over you.
Not for nothing. I make like legitimately like edgy, bigoted humor every single day, and I don't get called racist. I'm pretty sure things have shifted pretty significantly when it comes to the comfort level of things. I mean, and you know that because you're putting actual slurs in your thumbnails, and you're not getting in trouble for it. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, like that is a slur. It's fine. You would use it whatever you want. I mean, if you want to be a 40-year-old male that still tries to jerk off little kids that love edgy humor in that way, be my guest. I mean, I guess I make edgy jokes too. But like, you're acting like we're living in this time where you get persecuted for your existence of being a white guy when your entire channel is about jerking off like fucking incels. I mean, I guess they need to come too, but holy fuck.
But the joke's on them. Racist and homophobe are words we laugh at now. Because the
Okay.
people using these
racist.
words are leftist cowards.
Sorry, dude.
You saw the Act Man try to make this statement in one of his recent videos.
All right, let's see
Oh,
what
I
it
guess
is.
everything is woke now, huh?
Yeah, he's making fun of you.
So everything is just woke. This is what's known as a straw man fallacy, and it isn't actually an argument. If you
But that is what you think. You think everything is woke. It's not straw manning. That's your actual take. You think everything is woke. If you're going to quote Synthetic Man, which he did in one of his like the last video we watched of him, as being a good representation of fighting against whatever bullshit you liked him as a creator, you're an idiot. This is a guy who cried that there was a black person inside of the Warhammer games. Like, this guy is everything is woke. If it's not just white people in a game, he's going to shit and fart all over himself. And also, why do you keep using this picture of this muscular Chad? We've seen you, dude. Like, it's like you really cannot do that. Like the muscular Chad community looks at you and laughs at you. Like, you're a like, what are you talking about? It's always so interesting. You know, when you got like some fucking like beefed up muscular guy coming out here calling everything gay and woke, like Nick Merckx, at least I can see where he's coming from because at least he looks the part. But you're a fucking fat 40-year-old that doesn't like leave your house. You know what I mean? You know, and I know that I'm fat too, but like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, what do you physically? Do you go to the gym? Do you lift weights? Do you do anything? Like, you can't reference the fucking the Chad gamer over here when you're not that. I don't understand. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
try to make this statement in one of in a town that was flooding, and a straw man fallacy, and it isn't actually an argument. If you lived in a town that was flooding and somebody said, "Why are you using the word flood so much? I'm so tired of hearing that word."
What are you talking
Well,
about?
we use the word flood because it describes what is happening right now.
What the fuck are you talking about?
More importantly, why are you defending gay-ass propaganda in video games?
What the fuck are you talking about?
All right, so I hope I've done a good job of explaining generally what wokeism is.
No, you sound like an idiot.
Now, where do we see it in games? Wokeism shows up in games in at least 6 possible ways.
Adding a black person.
Number 1, making female characters more ugly.
So here's the one thing that I love, and it's like the first self-exposure right here. The first self-exposure when it comes down to this is right here. Making female characters ugly. What about the guys? So you acknowledge just the existence of this makes you look fucking stupid. You're saying that it's okay to make guys ugly in the games, but not girls. That's it. There's generally more diversity in male characters in games historically, and now they're just trying to apply that with women. It's really not that deep. You don't have to want to fuck every character. Every female character doesn't exist for you to want to put your penis in. So stop crying. That's it. That's all it is. Some girls want to feel more represented playing whatever character they have. That's literally it. It's not that deep. Not every character needs to be for your penis to insert into.
Number 2, replacing male characters with female characters in order to virtue signal.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be in order to virtue signal. They might just want to be targeting another audience. I don't play Gears of War. I don't know if it was good or not. If the game wasn't good, then that's not good. But you can only do so much with the main character, Marcus, in the games. So maybe they're just trying to go in a different direction. I don't necessarily know. I don't like when they don't do enough effort to making the piece of media good when they do something like that. But as long as they're making a new character and not race swapping or gender swapping the actual character, I don't really give a shit. Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Number 3, removing masculinity and masculine characters from games.
Who are they removing from the games? What are you talking about? Again, they have more representation of like non-traditional masculine characters, but...
Number 4, blindly inserting gay, black, and trans characters in order to virtue signal.
That can happen sometimes, but it doesn't happen in every single instance. Like I said, the game Hades did a really good job of adding like gay and bisexual characters and shit, but the game was still great, so it didn't matter.
Number 5, changing historical events to push contemporary political messages.
What? I have no idea what you're referring to. But like games in general and lots of media in general have done that. Like even the original Star Wars, like listening to George Lucas talk about it was like there was like political undertones when it comes to like the Vietnam War and shit. It's just like this is things that people do all the time. What did they specifically change historical event wise in Battlefield 5? I can spell in battle. What is it that they changed in Battlefield 5?
Number 6, softening, watering down, and removing anything controversial or edgy from games.
I mean, times are changing. What's considered acceptable and not acceptable just kind of shifts based on the time period. It's really not that big of a deal. What did they do in New Vegas that was so bad? I don't understand.
So we are...
Oh, they added women into Battlefield 5? Is that what they did? I wouldn't doubt it.
Going to look at these 6 key ways that games have been wokeified, and we're going to track the increase of all of these things in games over time. Before we get into it, just to give you a larger sweep of the problem here.
Oh, they added women and people with prosthetics. Jesus fucking Christ. You alright? Battlefield 5 literally erased the entire history of the Norway SAS, destroying German nuclear water and stopping the Germans making a bomb. And replaced it with random made-up story, which to be fair is crazy. Okay, that sounds fair.
I tracked the 20 most played or critically acclaimed games from 2004, 2014, and 2024.
Okay, so this one is main character is a man from 2004, so 20 years ago. Okay. And this is 2024, which is you can either play as a man or a woman, or you can only play as a woman. Okay. So how many of these can you still play as a man? I don't... Okay. Were the games good? Who gives a shit?
You can check my math below and see the game.
Tony Hawk's Underground? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, that must be... So confused. Okay, so this is... Okay, this is just very bizarre to me. What... I don't even know how to engage with this. Okay, that's cool. I look at something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where you can play sometimes as a girl character and go like, really, that's what you're gonna do to say that things are too woke? I mean, I'm surprised you're not complaining that they made her tits smaller, which I think is a problem, by the way. Pal World, another game, Hades 2. I don't know, dude. Are these games good? I mean, I like these games. I liked Hades 1 was fantastic. I still haven't played Hades 2. Final Fantasy 7 was fine. Wasn't a huge fan. I felt like it was a fucking drag. Black Myth Wukong was incredible. What's the, I don't understand. Elden Ring, you can play as a girl, guys. This seems so fucking stupid to me.
Games I picked for each year.
Like, are you telling me that if they added a girl into Tony Hawk's Underground 2, you would have a fucking meltdown crybaby shit fit? Because that would then go into a game that wasn't exclusively men. Who gives a shit? It's a fucking video game. I don't understand. Final Fantasy Rebirth is amazing. I don't know, man. It was okay. They made it bigger in Rebirth? What are you talking about? What am I thinking of? Am I thinking of a different game? What is Rebirth? Is that not the first of this trilogy or whatever? I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the remakes. It just wasn't like hitting for me.
2004, we have games like Halo 2, Dragon Quest 8, Metal Gear Solid 3. Then for 2024, we have games like Modern Warfare 3, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Elden Ring, because it's still one of the most played games, etc., etc.
Yeah, and that's the game you can play as a girl. Are you saying that Elden Ring is bad?
I then showed in the blue bar if the game only allowed you to play as a man.
Who cares?
Then the pink bar is if the game lets you play as a woman or gives you a choice between man or woman or lets you play as a trans character.
So this is the problem here. This is the problem. Is that, like, we acknowledge that the term woke, very simply, is just too much of this incorrect implementation of, like, representation in a game. It's not the existence of black or gay people or whatever. It's just when they do it as a virtue signal. And then you decide to go, if the game has a girl that you can play, it's too woke. That's what the indication here is. This is how you know this guy's dishonest. This is what it is. Like, this is the acknowledgement that anytime any non-female or non-male character can be played as a main character, that's it. You can't engage with it anymore. It's too woke. Why? Like, by this logic, by his own logic, Tomb Raider is too woke. By that alone, based on this chart representation, that's it. Okay? Also, you don't have to play the game.
And I think this graph lets you see exactly what is wrong with the game industry.
By this graph's logic, Tomb Raider is too woke. By this logic, the original Tomb Raider is too woke. That's the argument he's making. Just to be clear, okay? That's his argument. Thank you for $2 from Buck Oven. From experience, a lot of men want to play as women. Shh, not me, dude. I'm not fucking gay. Street Fighter, guys, by this logic, Street Fighter is too woke.
We got away from playing male characters in games, the general quality of video games went down.
What are you talking about? In what way?
And I hope that's clear in this graph.
That's not clear in this graph. I hate this, like, reimagined idea that games used to be so amazing back then. They weren't. Games sucked just as much back then as they do now. Again, Angry Video Game Nerd, entire channel showing how shitty old games were. Not every game is a good game. There are more games available, which means there are more shitty games available, total raw number, but percentage-wise, there are good games, there are bad games, and that's just the reality of the world we live in. Games haven't gotten worse because this guy can't stare at a guy's fucking cock when he's playing as a male character. Some games have gotten worse because they just suck. But this is how it's always been. There's always been a typical trend of shit games and a typical trend of good games. That's just how it was.
All right, so getting into specific games, let's talk about 12 games that went woke over time. The Last of Us. The first Last of Us game from 2013 was a heartfelt and masculine journey for its main character, Joel.
Yeah.
It was one of the best-selling games and regarded as one of the greatest games of all time. With The Last of Us 2 in 2020, the director took a different approach. Joel is killed within the first hour of the game because, men are bad. He is replaced with Ellie, who flaunts her broken sexuality and is in a relationship with a woman.
So listen, I haven't played Last of Us yet. It's on the list, okay? But I'll tell you right now, because I've heard that Last of Us 2, that people don't like it as much, but they still like it, okay? The reality of the world is that you can only do so much with some characters. I wouldn't doubt it that they said, we did a lot with Joel, and he has come to an end. Joel is historically a trope, the character. He is just like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is the older guiding force character. And the mentor character, if you will, which is a trope, and it's not a bad trope. And they exist to help another character. In the first game, you're playing a guiding character, a mentor character. And in the second game, realistically, it makes sense for him to pass on and for her to pick it up. That's not a bad thing to do, because if you don't do that, you risk the issue of overplaying the main character, or doing too much for one character, and like overdeveloping, running out of fresh ideas. Sometimes you have to kill off somebody or get rid of a character to move on. Like Joel's legacy is secured. He's in the first game. He's solid. He doesn't fuck his own legacy over, and now we move on to a different character. It's not that big of a deal. It makes sense perfectly canonically that that's what would happen. He mentored her, and then in the second game, she becomes the main character. That's a natural storytelling progression of the character, and it makes perfect sense. It would be like if Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't die in the first Star Wars, and it's like, what are we doing with this character? They've already kind of lived their shit. So people who played the game saying that his death made sense within the storyline, that makes sense to me. Just because she's a girl that happens to be gay as well doesn't mean that it's bad. I doubt the game is bad. She was gay in the first one too. Who cares? Her sexuality doesn't matter. It really does not matter. It was created to appeal to some people who are fucking gay women. Who gives a shit? It's not a big deal. If she was straight, it would have done the same thing. Appealed to people who were straight. So some gay girls can identify with the character now. Who cares? I'm not playing a girl character so that I could fuck boys. Like, that's really weird and pedophilic. I don't understand why I'd want to play as a little girl that wanted to suck dick. I don't get it. Like, what does her sexuality have to do with anything? She's a character in a game. That seems pretty flushed out. I liked the show. I imagine that the games were as good as the show, or better, if they made a show based off the games. I don't really see it as an issue. Now, again, I have to play the games, but I can't trust his... This guy literally said if a game lets you play as a girl character, it's too woke, so I can't trust his mentality here.
I honestly didn't mind the first half of the game, but the last half is disgusting. For
Why?
the last 20 hours of the game, you're expected to play as Abby, Ellie's mortal enemy. She's a really mannish and disgusting girl boss character.
Wait, I thought you said masculinity was bad. Why is the problem that they have a masculine character?
And there's a nasty sex scene with her cuck boyfriend.
Okay.
So the first game was about
You didn't feel like you identified with that, bud?
masculinity, bravery.
Does this guy have a wife? I feel like he doesn't, but if you do, how does she feel about this? And do you guys ever like have sex with each other, or are you guys just kind of like loveless? What's going on here? Like, do you have conversations about your work with her at the kitchen table? I doubt it.
Honor.
I know this is all an act. Okay.
Her defending a young girl. And the second game is about lesbians being a cuck and mannish chicks with big arms.
I doubt that. I'm assuming that the second game is about Ellie being left out into on her own into this world without the protection of Joel, right? His name was Joel. And her finding her way in there and using what he taught her to navigate correctly.
This game hits woke checkboxes number 1, number 2, number 3, and 4.
You're showing us her slitting another girl's throat. This is too woke to you? I just want to be clear.
Game hits woke checkboxes number 1, number 2, number 3, and 4.
I'm pretty sure she's about to slit this Asian woman's throat. This is too woke for you? Now, if there wasn't a single non-white male bad guy character, then you have an argument there. But she's about to fucking kill some Chinese girl. Maybe I don't really know. Maybe she doesn't actually slit her throat. But I've seen some of the fucking gameplay of this game, and it is obscene. This is murderous. This child is a sociopath, to be absolutely clear. If the Abby section took him 20 hours, he's playing with his TV off and controller backwards. Is that real? Oh, what is he over-exaggerating? That makes sense.
Gears of War.
Okay.
The Gears of War games in the 2000s were...
Why are you using such like low resolution edits? Is this me? I'm on fucking 1080p. What the hell?
always about masculinity, a common purpose, and brotherhood.
Okay. Cool.
It's a very male-focused story. So it was odd when the cucks at Microsoft made Kate Diaz the main character of the story now.
Wait a minute. Isn't Diaz... Is that the main character or the side, your main support character's daughter? That sounds like it's the daughter of one of the old main characters of the game.
Instead of exploring themes of brotherhood and duty like the game did before, since
Well, how much of that could you explore?
2016, the game is primarily about femininity, sisterhood, and when our periods happen.
I think I'm gonna have to play that game because I don't trust his representation of or his explanation of this game, but maybe I'm wrong.
So yeah, Gears of War went woke and it sucks now.
Did it, or is it just a girl character? Because again, so far what you showed us was that any girl main character equals to woke. So I don't know if this is true. Was it about her period and femininity, or was it just a girl character in this role? It's the main character's daughter. Oh, okay, cool.
Woke checkboxes number 2, 3, 4, and 6 have all been hit. Saints Row. The original Saints Row was very similar to GTA, but instead of being by yourself, you were part of a gang that helps you rise to power. With iconic characters like Johnny...
It's not male focused, it's humanity focused. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. They had traditional male masculine characters, which is cool, but like, how much can you do with that? Like, if anything, you should complain that they're continuing making Gears of War games and not making a new IP that could be fresh. You can only do so much with your main characters, and they moved on to a different main character to represent something different because they fucking extinguished their main shit that they could do.
Gat, Shondi, Julius, and others, Saints Row 2 is incredibly edgy and hilarious. You buy prostitutes, kill bums, etc.
Yeah.
Well, the Saints Row reboot in 2022 seemed to think it was a good idea to replace every single character from this celebrated series with a bunch of gay dudes with their shirts off.
Wasn't Saints Row after like the first one just like a fucking acid trip mess? You can be a woman in every Saints Row except for the first one. Oh, okay. I'm sure that the new Saints Row is actually ass, but that game is like an acid trip from like the start. No, I played one of the Saints, like Saints Row 3. Isn't that game fucking insane? Isn't it just like demons and vampires and just like fucking wild? It's like GTA on heroin.
Ugly lesbians, girl bosses, and trans people. Like, huh? Nobody has ever understood their audience worse than whoever took control of the Saints Row reboot.
Okay.
The fans were noticeably upset when this stuff started to leak, and instead of Volition changing, they doubled down. And now the studio is closed. So as is often said, you go woke, you go broke. Halo.
Okay.
Halo was one of the games that got me back into video.
I mean, this sounds like the biggest criticism is stop killing your franchise. Because in that instance, it sounds like, because that game was already insane. You could play as girls and fucking weird gay people from the start, just to be clear, okay? Or I guess in the second game. But my thing is that you can only make so much of an IP before it's run its course. So maybe make a new IP, make a new game and do something fresh.
Games in 2004, so I was really stoked to see the woke mind virus taking it over now. Here's Cortana in Halo 4. Here's Cortana in Halo Infinite.
Ah, they've covered her tits, dude. Fuck, it's gone too woke.
Yeah. They also disabled party chat by default in Halo Infinite because, you know, people are soft and can't handle reality now.
Bro, I'm not really. I mean, that's your entire channel is complaining about black people in games, so I just want to be clear. Yeah, listen, I used to be a really toxic gamer who said every slur under the sun. I probably know slurs that you guys don't know when I play video games. Overall, it is a smart thing to be restrictive of what people say when you play video games for an overall positive experience for people. It just is. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm 34 years old. This guy's 41, apparently. If I'm hearing, like, a 20-year-old make this comment, like, I get it. You're young, you're edgy, whatever. But you're a grown-ass fucking man. I used to call people, like, racial slurs in video games. And I'm getting older now. It's like, that's not appropriate. People are going to do that. So you know what? Restrict people from being able to do that. It's a good idea. And if you want to take it a step farther and you want to go into like the competitive conversation route, communication is very important. And so when you allow people to say slurs to their teammates and like berate their own teammates for making minor mistakes, when the reality is you're in the same elo, so you're just as shitty as that person. You're discouraging like productive, like upwards growth. You're going to have bad games. So it makes perfect sense from a competitive aspect, from an aspect of trying to maintain players and audiences. It just doesn't appeal to toxic pieces of shit that like to say slurs. Okay? It's time to grow the fuck up. It's just time to grow up. Can I give you an example of saying racial? No, I cannot give you an example of saying racial slurs. Okay, it's time to grow up, man. Like I can't take you seriously if you're a 40-something-year-old fucking grown man, pretend to grown man, justifying like toxic party chat. It's time to grow the fuck up. It's time to grow the fuck up.
They killed off funny characters like Avery Johnson. Also, if you look through the armor skins available to you in Halo Infinite, it's full of this kind of garbage like International Women's Day.
Who cares, dude?
Trans Visibility Day colors. Black Lives Matter.
It's like a black skin. Like, I don't understand.
Like, where is my Master Chief draped in the American flag? Where is my Master Chief with a Trump helmet? Like,
oh, I didn't know this guy was a traitor. Okay, sorry. I don't respect anti-American traitors who support insurrections on our government, which is what happened. And if you don't believe that, then you're a fucking idiot conspiracy theorist. Okay, that's just 100% true. Just to be clear, that's number one. Or you can just read, Anyway. So here's the problem that I have. We'll take the American art one more seriously because the MAGA one is you're a fucking idiot more. Like, obviously, I would expect you to have that low IQ take. Okay? You don't actually want an American flag skin because your advocation is reactionary. If you're like, hey, man, I would like a American flag skin, that would be cool. But you're melting down about different colors of skins and then reactionarily going, where's the American flag one? If you actually wanted that, then support it with your wallet. Be like, hey, you know what? That's cool. Add some gay skins, but can I have like an American flag skin? Yeah, where's my Biden helmet, dude? Where's my helmet that makes me unable to speak? Which would be a Trump helmet as well, because neither of them can form a fucking sentence. Don't use the skins. Advocate for a new skin. That's cool, but you don't really care. It's just about being like anti-gay because I think what it is that these guys are so well. First of all, this guy's grifting. Like he used to make like fucking content that he would consider woke. Number two, I think or he's a closeted homosexual that loves cock so much. Anytime you see something that's gay, it makes him like his dick get hard. He starts just coming into his own mouth and like wishing it was his best friend from high school. Oh God, Jimmy, you know,
like for some reason they left that out. Why do y'all think that is? And again, talk about just not understanding your audience.
Probably because you're anti-American, bro. You just reference a fucking Trump hat. If you were American, you wouldn't be for Trump. Guy who tried to fucking insurrect the government, who sent a bunch of people on January 6th to break into the fucking the Capitol building, and then instead of calling the National Guard, is on the fucking phone trying to get Mike Pence to delay the vote and to take 7 faulty electors that would vote against the will of the fucking people. Mike Pence, W, by the way, absolute American hero for not getting pressured into it. And then when Trump didn't get his way, what is he saying? Mike Pence failed him, and then all these people are saying kill Mike Pence. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So you can't say you love America and then also love Trump. Trump is not synonymous with loving America. Trump is synonymous with cum-guzzling fucking Russian pussy losers that are anti-American and traitorous. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You don't get to drape the American flag around you when you support an insurrectionist piece of fucking dog shit through his entire term, refused to actually help the country in any significant way by passing border wall legislation that had bipartisan support and that was created by conservatives to the point where he shot it down. He rallied conservatives to not support the bill when they already had support of the bill. Was about to get passed that would have put in more money for the border wall, more people on the border wall, expediting asylum-seeking process so that we can get people who had unlawful claims to asylum out of the country faster, just so that he could win the vote. That's why he did that. He is un-American. The best thing he ever did was inherited a good economy and then cut taxes that we can never fucking pay for because he wanted idiots like you to go, oh my God, I have $10 extra a week. When the reality is he had a good economy and he should have lowered the deficit instead of raised it by $350 billion per year pre fucking COVID for absolutely no reason. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I can't take these people seriously. They're fucking anti-American fucking pussies. These guys are losers. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser. Holy fuck, the Capitol building's open to the public. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's why they were attacking cops, taking their riot shields, and they were breaking through windows and fucking doors to get in the Capitol building. Yeah, you're right. I was definitely open to the public. By the way, the girl that got shot, rest in peace, but not really. You deserve to die. Every one of those motherfuckers that broke into the Capitol building should have died. I don't really give a shit. Fuck traitors, okay? Fuck traitors. Fuck people who take money from Russia. Fuck people who are trying to pull all this bullshit. What happened to like real fucking American men? Masculinity. What happened, dude? What happened to us saying fuck traitors, they deserve capital punishment? Where did that go? We want to talk about how things are going. What the fuck happened to that? Enough is enough. That's the weakness of our world. Oh, we're going to fine you some money. Go back to hosting Alex Jones. You're a fucking anti-American. Where did we go? We started a fucking revolutionary war against anti-American pieces of shit. Where the fuck are we now? Now we're at the point where the people are breaking into the Capitol building and they get a slap on the wrist. Fuck that, dude. Get the fuck out of here. I'm so sick and tired of this bullshit. I'm tripping. Suck my fucking balls. This is just a reality of the world. Okay? That's what it comes down to, dude. I don't know what you want me to tell you, dude. I'm sick and tired of this fucking anti-American bullshit. I love this. I'm an Eagle Scout. I legitimately love this country. Got all these fucking losers sitting here. Yeah, rip TikTok stream. I guess we couldn't do TikTok stream. Good thing we didn't stream on TikTok today. I'm just so tired of it, dude. It's fucking the slap in the face. Fucking cringe. I'm so tired of this shit. Oh, there might be a gay guy in a video game. Meanwhile, these guys are fucking jerking off to fucking Donald Trump. Oh my God, I love Donald Trump. He was so good. He was such a good president. He didn't do anything, dude. He couldn't fucking deal with the Affordable Care Act. He didn't do a goddamn thing with that. Couldn't do a fucking goddamn thing with the border wall. Couldn't pass bipartisan legislation, which is the number one thing any president needs to do. They need to have both sides work with them. Knock down a bipartisan bill. What did he do? Well, he cut taxes for us when we didn't need it. Oh, whoa, shit. Kick the fucking can down the road, came to Israel-Palestine, but not including Palestine, on peace conversations with Israel, and then imposing fucking restrictions onto Palestine without them being part of the conversation while not going hard enough on Israel. Oh, well, that was good. Oh, why are we in so many wars? Because you're a fucking idiot. Because in 4 years, he made the country worse off overall. That's why. Fuck this shit, dude. It's so cringe and annoying. I'm fucking triggered. Dude. I'm fucking triggered. I'm going fucking bananas.
All. Do they really think edgelord Halo dudes want to be like, oh, dude, sick International Women's Day skin, brother?
Just don't buy it.
Battlefield.
Gives a fuck.
So Sweden is overwhelmingly filled with homosexual men. I've established this before.
Bro, this is you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? What the fuck are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about, bro? What the fuck are you doing? Look at you, still shock your hair at 41. That's wild work. That's wild fucking work. What are you talking about? You don't even really show yourself on fucking YouTube. I mean, that's just embarrassing in and of itself. You're so afraid to show your fucking face. I don't understand. The hell are you talking about?
But a broken clock is still right twice a day. In the early 2000s, DICE Entertainment made a few incredible Battlefield games, but in 2018, they done goofed. They took what had been, up until this point, a pretty realistic and accurate war game, and they added women, black girl bosses, and lesbians for no reason. Not a single woman fought on the front line.
This could be a reasonable criticism. The problem is the source of the criticism. It comes from somebody who's afraid to show his face on the internet and thinks that a game is too woke if there's any fucking women included in as a main character. That's the whole problem. You're not getting a realistic starting point. You're not getting any of your information from somebody who has the ability to filter the reality of the world. He's a delusional fucking psychopath idiot. Probably not a psychopath, just like a baby. He's a fucking baby.
Lines in World War II in the Western Front. But that wasn't going to stop the gay men of Sweden. So they put girl bosses in Battlefield 5 just to piss you off. Okay. I saw an article last week that DICE is completely changing directions and basically begging for us to come back. It's pretty awesome, actually. They keep talking about how Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 and how they learned their lesson and are going to change now. But it's too bad because I'm done with the Battlefield games and will never play new ones. Wolfenstein.
It's World War I. There are black German soldiers. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But I guess there were no women. I just don't care. This could be a good criticism, but it's not coming from a good source. That's the problem. It's like when a pedophile is telling you that there's child rapists about. You have to be careful. It's like, yeah, well, I guess you'd be I'm not calling this guy a pedophile. I'm using the example that, like, he's just not a good source of information. He's not factually correct. Like, he doesn't have a good framework for anything that he believes. Anything that he called Final Fantasy VII too woke because you get to play as a woman in it. Like, it's like, okay.
I'll get right to the point with this one. Wolf 2014 is a very masculine, very base, very pro-America, and it's an awesome game.
Well, you're not pro-America, so why does that resonate with you?
Game. Wolfenstein 2017 is
she's great. She's a good actress, by the way. She was really good. Well, first of all, she was funny in Mad TV. I like her a lot. She's actually a voice actress. I think she's like number 5 in the Code Word Kids Next Door and shit like that. And she's actually a pretty prolific or pretty popular voice actress. She did really well in the Star Wars games. So I don't know exactly what's going on here, but like the inclusion of her by itself is a positive role, because it's annoying when they didn't just insert some random woman. She's a career voice actress and actor or actress, whatever, that does very well. So like that's a positive sign for your piece of media. I don't know how bad Wolfenstein 2 was. I'd have to play it, but like just her inclusion in general is a positive inclusion.
Woke abortion full of communist propaganda, Marxist messages, feminism, and inclusion. I also found Wolf 2 to just not be nearly as good of a game, gameplay-wise, as the 2014 reboot. The 2014
was it good in general?
Reboot and the Old Blood DLC are both really solid games without basically any political propaganda. It started getting really bad in Wolfenstein 2, but then it hit an absolute fever pitch with Wolfenstein Youngblood. Guys, watch some clips of this.
Okay. It sounds like the biggest issue is, hey, maybe they're making too many sequels.
Game, and you'll see what I mean. They replaced BJ Blazkowicz, an absolute unit and Chad and badass, with his 2 daughters.
Oh, who cares? I have to play these games myself so I can like see the criticism of this, but it doesn't really seem like it matters. But
and they need to play cards and write in their blog about it the first time they kill somebody. Like, dude, come on. Also, the gameplay.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense from any like a mental health perspective. This first time somebody kills somebody, I imagine it's pretty mentally distressing to them.
It was just really
it's like the boy who cried woke. Maybe some of these are good examples, but this guy cries woke about everything. So it's like, I don't know if these are good examples or not.
Really, really bad. I tried the game. It was just an absolutely terrible game. It's full of feminism, communism. It's an abortion. Suicide Squad. If we consider this game to be a continuation of the Arkham games, then they absolutely butchered one of the greatest masculine characters of all time, Batman.
What, was he just not in the game or something?
In 2009, 2011...
I mean, I saw that the reception wasn't that great from Suicide Squad. It was just a fucking mess, which is probably the bigger issue.
2011 and 2015, Rocksteady had built up a reputation for making incredible Batman games. Really great story, unique gameplay mechanics, and I would say Arkham City still holds up as one of the greatest video games of all time. So what did they do?
Is this you?
Well, they butchered the gameplay, of course, and turned it into the most generic, sad...
Well, I don't think that this is like a legitimate continuation of the gameplay from those games. I think this is supposed to be something new. But, okay.
Third-person slop shooter you've ever played.
What does that have to do with wokeness, though? Like, why does this have to do anything with wokeness?
They replaced all the characters with lesbians, girl bosses, and minorities.
They replaced... So I used to read comic books, and Suicide Squad was one of them. These are all like characters from like the media. What is he talking about? What girl bosses? Harley Quinn? She's like a very successful, popular character. Like she's very big in the Suicide Squad comics.
And of course, there's all kinds of queer inclusion flags and equality flags.
They made Harley Quinn. She's like a canon. She's been in there for so long.
Everywhere in this game. And of course, white men have to be killed because we hate white men.
I'm not understanding. He shows one girl character. What are the other examples of wokeness being injected into this other than Harley Quinn being a character? The game might have sucked dick. The game probably was terrible. I want to know where the wokeness is.
Because white men are the worst.
Well, where is that? Like, how's that being communicated?
Companies like Rocksteady have destroyed our favorite franchise.
How is that being? I'm so confused. How is that being communicated? Like, in what way? You're just saying a thing because they apparently killed Batman. Batman has died in comics before. That might make the game less interesting, I suppose. So that's fine. The game's probably shit. I just don't understand what this has to do with wokeness. And killing Batman doesn't mean that they hate white people.
Franchise, and they all deserve to go out of business. Think about it. We could have gotten a fourth Arkham game from these guys, and instead we got this communist.
Why? Why would you want a fourth Arkham game? Like half the criticisms are like, "Hey, there's too much sequels," and now it's like, "I wish we had more sequels." Which I don't. They went to do something and then it sucked. I don't know what to tell you.
Slop.
Look up the gay Miss Freeze suit. Is it stereotypical and bad? Let's see. Gay Miss Freeze suit. What is it? Suicide Squad? Let's see. Oh, this is pretty gay for sure. Is this real, or is this somebody? Is this like a real skin? That's fucking wild as hell, dude. Why didn't he show this as an example of how weird this is then? I mean, I don't really care. My understanding of like her character in general was that there's multiverses in every single comic thing. And so there's like one universe where Mr. Freeze was actually a girl. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me. It's a new character. I don't really have any negative criticisms of that fundamentally existing. The skin is whatever. I mean, I don't really care about the skin. The skin doesn't really bother me. It's like, oh, you have a gay pride flag. I'm like, okay, whatever. Who gives a shit? It's fucking look like a butch lesbian anyway.
Dragon Age. If you've played the first three Dragon Age games, you know they're full of heterosexual romance, attractive outfits for sexy women, and tons of edgy, funny, and great storylines.
Okay.
Well, anytime the blue hairs see the boys enjoying themselves, you know troons and lesbians are going to show up. And
why? Okay. You don't have to like trans people, but why, unironically, why does YouTube let people get away with using actual slurs? I don't really understand that.
Ruin this. Dragon Age Veilguard is shaping up to be the biggest woke abortion of the year. As I said earlier, this is the biggest breast and butt you can have on a woman in the game.
They killed Green Lantern? That's fucking terrible. But if this is true, if I take your word for it, then this is anti-woke. Right? Because they're not fat. None of this makes sense. Like his issue is that you can't make the girls have big asses and tits, but then you can't make them fat. So which one is it? Is it too woke? Is it anti-woke? Like, where are we going in this direction?
While this is a small thing, you know this level of insanity is going to propagate itself through the whole game. So we're looking at just a small detail, but small details add up and show you...
Okay, well, you haven't played the game yet, so you're just assuming it's bad. And when it comes out, you're going to say it's bad because you're going to you've already made your mind up on this game.
The general direction of a video game.
Cool.
Woke-tool combat.
What? Mortal Kombat being too woke?
Not intimately familiar with the Mortal Kombat series right now, but I get messages about it a lot.
Yeah, great.
Apparently, characters that were once attractive women have been downgraded into ugly, boxy outfits. Edgy and offensive storylines have been removed, and gay depravity is being copied and pasted throughout the game now, and nobody wants it.
I mean, like, listen, the most I know about Mortal Kombat is what I'll see on like my For You page on TikTok. There's still hot girls in it, and they're still ripping each other's spines out. I feel like it's probably not an issue. I'd love to know what you're specifically referencing. I don't really know what you're talking about. Mortal Kombat, the game about ripping spines through fucking bodies, is too woke now. Aren't they adding like badass characters into it, like fucking Homelander and shit? And they're getting like pretty good IPs and adding into it. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't even think that this is what is he referring to? Like, it's fine that you didn't play the game or whatever, but like you should have at least, like, what characters are you referring to? You just said, like, apparently some people are getting less attractive, and then he just shows black men on the screen that are canonical characters. What characters are you referring to? What is he talking about? I don't even know.
Zelda. This one is very short.
Zelda? Zelda's a good game. I don't really play the Zelda games. Played the original, not the original. I played the 64 for the most. That's the only one I beat. You play as a fucking twink in every single version. I don't know how you're going to come out of here saying that this is woke. You play as a literal fucking twink in this game. What are you talking about?
The Zelda games have always had a male protagonist, but of course, woke Nintendo had to ruin that. The new Zelda game stars Princess Zelda because she don't need no man.
How many Zelda games do you want with Link being the main character? Like 50 of them. God forbid they make one. You're going to complain about Mario Party making Peach games too? Like Mario? I don't. This makes it woke? Yeah, that's the one Zelda you play as Zelda. No commentary on how good the game is. Whatsoever. If the game was bad and you want to be like, hey, it seems like they just added inclusivity as an excuse to sell it and didn't make the game good, that's one thing. Is the game bad? The first, it's this seems like the natural progression of the series is to maybe have one Zelda game where you play as the name of the game.
She can do everything herself. Fallout New Vegas, as I've said many times, is one of the edgiest and best games of all time.
Cool.
I mean, you can roleplay as the bad guys if you want. In Fallout 3, you can literally enslave kids.
It's funny because, like, in Zelda, you play, it's a game, it's like a fucking Asian gaming company. They don't give a shit about our Western politics. So then having us be able to play as Zelda has nothing to do with inclusivity or exclusivity.
But of course, as all woke games do, because people's fifis got hurt, they have to remove this stuff. What is there to say about
enslaving kids? I mean, okay. I'm not really fighting. Guys, I really want to maintain enslaving children in my game.
Fallout 76 that hasn't been said already. It is a woke, bland cash grab with loads and loads of dull, inoffensive characters with absolutely no perspective on anything.
Okay.
Oh, and it's full of gay depravity in every nook and cranny with tons of...
What makes the gayness depravity? You can be like, hey, I am. It's annoying. I walk through Target during Pride Month and go like, oh my God, give me the fucking rest. It's not because it's depravity. It's because it's like a virtue signal. And it's like, okay, I get it. But like, whatever. I don't really care that much. It's not that big of a deal. But you're saying it's a woke depravity, which means that you're saying that gay people are depravity. And like, explain that to me. Your entire channel appeals to fucking gooners who sit down all day and jerk off to video games and need video games to have porn in them for whatever reason, instead of just going and looking up the fucking R34 of things. So I'm not really understanding where any of this shit comes from. Thank you for the $10 from Duke of Nylon Variety Gaming. If you watch a video, Andy Pants Gaming is a liar, and I can prove it, you will know that all of this is just a grift, I think you meant to see. He was formerly an Xbox fanboy that was going nowhere and switched to the new grift. Yeah, no, I know that. That's the whole thing. He was an Xbox fanboy that used to be, by his own logic, woke, but then he found a lot of money being 41 years old and complaining about not being able to scream and curse and say slurs in online video games, and Zelda being the main character in a Zelda game. So, incredible stuff. Great. It's a great. Hey, what's up, Willie Mac? He's comparing an MMO to a single-player Fallout. This reminds me of the quartering. Dude, this is just fucking unhinged behavior. I don't understand. You know, just don't play the game if you don't like it, or criticize the individual game. We don't have a wokeness problem in the game because you can't jerk off to every fucking female character in every single modern video game. Go look at porn. I don't understand that. Like, go look at girls jiggling their fucking tits in porn. You don't have to want to fuck every single character in every single video game. It's bizarre.
gay flags everywhere.
Also, you had a problem that the games are making girls uglier, but you never said anything about the underage character Ellie in The Last of Us. So did you want to fuck Ellie? The answer is obviously no. But the reason I'm saying that isn't to try to say you're a pedophile. It's because you don't care about that. You don't actually care about fucking all these girls. You just sometimes look at a girl that's less attractive to you and you're like, wait a minute. Who gives a fuck if they add girls in the game that are less attractive? It's not always about fucking every single girl. Plus, I like fat bitches. Add a fat bitch into a fucking game. Okay? That's the one thing I have a problem watching Sex in the City with my wife. She likes it. It's interesting. It's actually pretty. Not a single fat bitch in that show. It's fucking annoying the fuck out of me. Pissing me off. Fat bitch, big tits, gray hair, saggy. Give me that fucking shit, boy.
Where Spider-Man 2. Despite MJ being smoking hot in every piece of Spider-Man media for 30 years, it turns out the broken gay Satanists who work at Sucker Punch know better than us chuds. In Spider-Man 2018, Mary Jane was unattractive.
What?
And then they made her even uglier.
She doesn't look. What makes her unattractive here? She's just. What?
In Spider-Man 2. What makes this worse is if you look directly at her huge, ugly chin, you can see that she was meant to look like,
I don't understand.
like the lead girl boss writer from the games.
Maybe? She looks fine. I don't understand.
All of these evil people just want to like self-insert themselves in games, it seems.
I don't understand what the problem is. Just because you're not like, what do you want her to have? Huge fat tits poking out of the place? I don't understand. She looks normal. What?
Instead of, maybe making something that their audience wants. Watch
What? Was Spider-Man 2 poorly received?
Synthetic Man's video on Spidey 2 if you want a full write-up on all the gay nonsense.
Guys, watch Synthetic Man's video on how much he doesn't finish the games that he plays if they're too hard and then complains about them. Hey guys, it's me, Synthetic Man. I played Black Myth Wukong. Couldn't even finish a third of it. Said that the best fight in the game was the fight that I quit the game on because it was the most Souls-like. But then I quit the game on it. What? Thank you for $2 from Marty Rules. Sucker Punch doesn't even make Spider-Man. LOL. Oh, is that true? Okay.
But Spider-Man 2 is one of the gayest and grossest games of all time. It's full of true nonsense. It's really just a completely unenjoyable mess.
Well, this guy just uses slurs over and over again. I'm not even like kidding. Why is he able to get away with this? I don't really understand. Just say you don't like trans people. Just be like, oh, if I fucking trans. Just say trans. Just say trans. You don't have to use slurs. I don't understand why you're allowed to use slurs. And also, referencing Synthetic Man is fucking cringe, dude. If you reference Synthetic Man, the 30-year-old that still lives with his mom, that didn't have his dad in his life, so he fucking like sucks his mom tits off still. I'm pretty sure you're a fucking moron.
All right.
Well, this is like the only person left that is an actual fan of Synthetic Man and doesn't just watch him to make fun of him.
Right, next up, we're going to talk about 3 games that got woke remakes.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever wanted to catch these people with their hands in the cookie jar, the best place to do it is to show you how they love to change old games. Modernize these games.
Okay.
Let's make them more inclusive so people's feelings don't get hurt. The first example is
Insomniac that made the Spider-Man games? Oh, what the fuck is he talking about?
Mass Effect. While I'm sure there's tons of examples of this game being wokeified, the most egregious one was the downplaying of the attractiveness of women in the game. There's a
What does that mean?
distinct scene where Shepard looks at Miranda's butt and enjoys it, and they removed this from the game.
Oh no. That's it? That's what makes it too woke? Listen, again, this is the problem. Is I'm coming from a perspective where, like, as I get older, I actually become more of an adult, unlike this fucking 41-year-old man. When I was younger, I played the God of War games. I was like 15 when the first God of War came out. I loved all the sex scenes. I love that you get to fuck girls. I love that you could see fucking pixelated titties. I was jorking my peanuts to that shit. It was awesome. By the time the newest God of War came out, or not the newest, but 2018 came out, I was an older man. I was 28. More mature. Okay. I appreciated that they didn't add over-sexualized scenes into it because I'm just a little older. And like that isn't something that really resonates with me anymore. I'm a little older. I'm a little more reserved. It's a little not necessary. That's it. If they had added it, it just wouldn't really... It also wouldn't have helped the tone of the story because the story shifted. Point is like I don't fucking jork my dick every single time I see a girl's butt, and I'm okay with them trying to have a level of fucking class in the game, but be like, you know what, let's make it not show her ass. That's fine. And if they left it in there, that's fine too. This isn't exactly the make or break for the game, but apparently to him, since that was his only example, that destroyed the game because they didn't show her ass, which by the way wasn't fat. It was not even very impressive. That's too woke. Unless she has a nice fat ass, it's too woke. Thank you for the $2 from Z King. Anti-woke Andy. I can't goon. It's woke. True. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Papa God. I'm not sure you're going to read this, but thank you for all the content you make and everything. I always enjoy hearing your takes that you have. So always keep it up with the good work. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the small gut from Owen Burke. What is it? Dude, I can't even say anything. Is that Beer Kircher? Tell me if I said that right. Okay. Let's see what Dead Space is.
Dead Space. Dead Space is another game that got a woke remaster, and you can find a Steam thread with all of the changes that they made.
Okay.
Everything from changing the race of people, changing posters on the walls to fit with current day leftist ideologies.
Can you just show me like an example? First of all, I don't care about like race changing characters that probably don't have names. What are we talking about though? Like what characters were like did they race change a main character, or was it like a dead fucking space pirate? Whatever the fuck this game is. I don't like scary games. What are the posters? Was they just updated for the times, or did they say vote Kamala Harris? What is it that's the problem? Can you show it to me, or are you just going to give me a rundown without showing it to me because you are not trying to appeal to people unless they're already a fan of you? Thank you for the 14-month small gut from Marlo. Papa, love the stream. Thanks for the nuance. Thanks. I appreciate that. And thank you for the $2 from Hogsicle. I can goon to any game if Papa Gut's playing it. Incredible stuff. I love it.
Making women more ugly in the game.
Can you show me that example?
Making certain characters lesbian.
Can you show me that? That's how fucking I love lesbians, dude. I jerk off to lesbians all the time. Can you show it to me?
Etc.
Can you show me any of these examples?
Etc.
You cannot. Okay. Thank you.
Just this month, we got a third woke remaster of the game Dead Rising.
Okay.
This was originally one of my favorite games on the Xbox 360 and actually was an exclusive to it.
Okay.
I played it in 2023 and can confirm the game is super edgy and wonderful.
Cool.
Apparently, they took out a bunch of edgy dialogue. They took out parts of the game making fun of communists, and I can already guarantee you that any female character that was attractive in the game, they have now made less attractive.
You can guarantee it, which means that you don't know if they actually did that. Okay, gotcha.
So moving on, let's go.
So you like not for nothing, but he just put the screen card of like the game, like the splash art of a game, up on the screen and said they did some stuff to it, and then didn't prove any of that. So that's cool. Dead Space was getting called woke because of a single gender neutral bathroom. Incredible.
Go to new games that came out from 2000 to 2024 that have been woke from the beginning of their creation. We got Apex, Dustborn, Concord, Star Wars Outlaws, Flintlock.
Why'd you put Apex on there twice?
Siege of Dawn, and Forspoken.
Listen, I haven't played any of these games. They could all be annoying, woke nonsense. That could be 100% true. That doesn't mean all gaming has gone woke. If they're not very good, they're going to get a poor reception and not do particularly well financially. And by the way, this guy's example for what is woke is if you can play as a girl as your main character. That is his like legitimate. That is like if you could be a girl main character, the game is too woke according to this guy. Thank you for $5 from Nico. Hello. Long time no see, Mr. Gut. Going to HA for Dextro, Abuse, Robitussin, and what the fuck? Robotabs? There's hope, brothers. Never stop gooning and gaming. All right. Well, hopefully you get help. Jesus Christ. Well, I love you, brother. Hopefully you get over your addiction, my man. I shall rise in solidarity by getting over my gooning addiction. Okay, I love you.
We got Apex, Dustborn, Concord, Star Wars Outlaws, Flintlock, Siege of Dawn, and Forspoken.
Gotcha. And Apex again, apparently.
And I know there's many, many more, but these are just the ones that I'm familiar with. Cool. Isn't it interesting how the woke mob has seen the fundamental error they were making in changing old beloved games and characters?
Isn't it interesting that so this is the funniest part about it. It's like, so you're right now, you're telling us, hey, they made these games that were like too woke, which they probably are, but we got the fucking boy who cried woke over here. And they weren't received well. It's like, okay, cool. That's how it should happen. Vote with your wallet. Don't buy them. We're just trying to make it seem like it's the entire industry. It's really not that big of a deal.
And making them gay. So they had this amazing idea. Let's make new games that are woke from the start and they won't notice.
Isn't that the goal, though? That makes sense to me. Me not playing the woke game is normal because I don't like that shit. It's like it's cringe when it's like too much, like too woke. But isn't that what you'd want instead of them? So this is just criticism makes no sense. The reality is, whether we like it or not, there are people who want to play games with that are, in my opinion, overly inclusive. Cool. That game is for you. So now, instead of taking old IPs and like reverting them and potentially ruining them, in your opinion, they're making new IPs. That should be a positive thing to you. Who cares? Then people get to play that without having a negative impact on your media. Why is that a big deal that they want to make that? There's a market for it, then let them fucking appeal to that market. Who gives a shit?
Sadly, we did. All of these games on here are full of tedious political messages. All of these games are watered down, sanitized slop without anything edgy or funny or controversial in them.
It seems like the gameplay just sucks on those games.
And Apex is about the only one on here.
Oh shit, Nick Merckx still plays Apex, so the wokeness must not be that much of an issue. Oh, like it sounds like Apex is still good. I mean, Nick Merckx is a pretty good... if he still plays the game, I mean, he fucking hates woke shit, so it must be a good game still.
That wasn't a complete flop sales-wise. All of these games flopped. Nobody wanted to play them, and I truly hope from the bottom of my heart that the people who were making these games quit the industry and go do something else, like work at Starbucks. Just
Maybe they can make a better game that appeals to woke people that doesn't suck balls. That might be better. How's that?
do something else. All right, so if you look on the chart here, you can see the 15 or so games I've been tracking, and you can see a precipitous increase in leftist messages and communist messages and in woke messages increasing in all of these games over
What does a communist message mean? Like, what are they saying that makes it communist?
time. You are burying your head in the sand and denying obvious evidence if you continue to deny this garbage. Any leftist cuck
This guy called the original Lara Croft game too woke. I don't really know what he's talking about.
who continues to deny the obvious wokeifying of games is clearly not an honest person worth listening to.
Gotcha.
But for the cherry on top, isn't it a shame that we actually know why all this is happening?
Because there's more people inside playing video games, and some of them want to consume stuff with more black people in it because they're black or something. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Gay people and black people are playing games more and want to have more representation. That doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
And it's because DEI companies, agencies, and consultancies have been consulting on almost every single one of the games I've mentioned above.
Again, the reason why DEI is in these games is because basically Blizzard let a woman get sexually harassed into killing herself. So that's what it comes down to. There's toxic workplace culture, especially in the video game field, and there's massive lawsuits against Activision Blizzard. And so now gaming, like people who invest say, I'm only investing if you have a DEI agency that's going to have better inclusivity in your workplace so people don't kill themselves after dating the manager and then having their nudes leaked. I'm pretty sure that was the thing. That makes perfect sense to do. And the thing that gets me fucking stuttering is that, like, you talk about how it's so bad, but then you have fucking God of War on here. Now, I think 2018 was better than Ragnarok. The story was good in Ragnarok. Playing as Atreus was fucking terrible. In my opinion, the game was a little bit bloated. I felt like it took a little too long to beat, but it was still a great game. Still a fucking at least A-tier game that played really well, even if there were some elements that could have been a little bit improved, like playing as fucking Atreus was unfun. My personal opinion, right? Especially when you play it on the hardest difficulty. When you play it on the easier difficulties and it's just like kind of like a playthrough of the game and the story, it's not so bad. But he sucks when you get to like the hardest difficulty. It's just like fucking annoying as shit. But anyway, you put this on the list, which means that it's really not the DEI's issue. More than anything, the DEI isn't really the problem. It seems like sometimes the potential pandering to a particular audience that might be an issue. I don't know how much of this is pandering. Spider-Man 2 seemed to be well received. I didn't hear anything negative about Alan Wake or God of War. This game's great. I don't know what these fucking two games are, but it seems like it's not that big of a deal. So,
Sweet Baby Inc. is a consultancy that pushes leftist messaging in games and has become a pariah.
what leftist messaging is in God of War Ragnarok?
Any game that this company touches fails immediately.
God of War failed immediately. Bro, what are you talking about? You can criticize DEI inclusivity, but God of War failed immediately? God of War. The games that are getting re-pushed out on PlayStation, or excuse me, on the computer and pumping huge numbers, resurging it to the point where they put out free DLC. That game is dead on arrival? Okay, that makes perfect sense, bud. Thank you for $5 from Jado. All of these guys are just boys who never grew out of the no girls allowed in my clubhouse phase. Exactly, dude. It's just a bunch of fucking kids. Like this is what happens. This is unironically coming from a streamer. What happens when you let people make it like this their career? They go get a fucking job and go like work in the real world. These are not priorities. I worked a real job for like fucking over 10 years. Okay, you come back at playing video games and you're just happy to be here. Not that big of a deal. And you just play things that you like.
Spider-Man 2, Dustborn, Concord, Star Wars Outlaws, The Crew Motorfest, Alan Woke 2. With the exception of Spider-Man 2, almost every game here has been a huge failure.
Like, what are you talking? This game is a huge failure? What are you talking? What are you talking about?
But
what?
It doesn't end there. We know huge companies like Ubisoft and Activision and other companies that have huge diversity, equity, and inclusion departments to push.
Who cares? Diversity, equity, inclusion together creates a sense of belonging. Allow individuals to be their authentic selves and contribute to their best. I don't really get it. I don't know, man. Like, I guess because I worked a real job, like I don't have these crybaby online like takes. It's fine that they want to put more black people and women into games and gay people into games. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. I understand the idea of more inclusivity. I've been in a fucking boys club, like work. I used to work with like mechanics. Like, dude, it would be uncomfortable for fucking people to work there. I get it. I'm cool with like, hey, what if we had a little more diversity to mix it up a little bit, make it less of a boys club? It makes sense, dude. Because I've seen what happens, like the worst of the boys clubs, where you have people like there was one guy I worked with that would like follow women in the parking lot to their car and like hit on them, and it was uncomfortable. And then when he didn't really get punished. We all had to take a sexual harassment course because of it, and then he didn't really get punished. And it's like, okay, too much of a fucking boys club here. I have no problem with them that's what happens when you don't have these initiatives, whether you like it or not.
Ubisoft and Activision and other companies that have huge diversity, equity, and inclusion departments to push all of this.
I heard that there was some stuff here that was like a little bit of an issue. They went too far, but fundamentally, I have no issue with them just like wanting to create characters based on wanting to do more representation. They have plenty of white characters. That's fine with me. I like to have a character that I can identify with. And so I like Reinhardt. He's like an older white character. Like, I like that more mentor-ish character. I like that. As long as I can insert myself into a character in the game, it's cool. That's why I look at porn of Zyra with a big Fuda cock. I can insert my penis into her penis, right? You ever see that Fuda porn? No, but I like, as long as if there were no white people, then I would be like, oh, what the fuck? Who do I identify with? Like, I got like this bearded fucking dwarf too, dude. I like them. I like dwarves in video games. I think they're awesome. And beards, obviously. That's all I need. So, like, maybe this goes too far. I don't really know the specific controversy surrounding it. But fundamentally, I'm fine with them saying, like, hey, let's make sure we can try to include as many people as possible. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Satanic gay stuff into the
satanic gay
games we love. We know Activision opened its DEI branch in 2022. We know Sweet Baby Inc. opened in 2018. All of these horrible trends we hate so much correlate directly to these activists starting these
don't really hate these trends, to be honest with you.
Companies.
Alan Wake 2 literally won multiple awards. Did it really? I wouldn't doubt that.
All right, guys. So in closing, if you still deny the obvious wokeification of games, you're lying, and I think you know it. And I hope one day you realize you can wake up and be honest. But to deny the obvious trends of games towards woke ideologies is just delusional at this point. And one more thought in closing here. Why do you guys think woke ideology goes so directly against us gamers?
Okay, great frame to freeze on. Golden Axe.
And I think it's because, fellas, video games have always been edgy. Video games, let's be honest, have historically been aimed at men.
Yeah, white dudes. Okay, and now that's changing. Why do you want like a white guys club? Was that why you're not married? Like, I don't understand.
So the things men like and get excited about is naturally going to dominate games.
Okay.
The whole idea.
Right, and now there's more people playing video games. Girls play video games more now. So like, hey, what if we made games and appealed to girls a little bit? Cool.
Of being overly sensitive.
It's so funny because like if these guys would actually like engage in the games that were not just for fucking masculine men, maybe they'd find a girlfriend online. Go play a game that's more inclusive. Maybe you can find a girl to talk to and get out of your fucking house. You know, thank you for the $10 from Mole. Hey, Papa, I've been watching you since 2020. Thank you for speaking on women's issues and making people think critically on different topics. Much love from Boston. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I talk about women's issues. It sounds kind of gay the way you said it, but I appreciate it. I don't take compliments well sometimes. But yeah, man, I just like women. Women are cool. I have a wife I love and I respect, and you know, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Sensitive about video game content is just such a cancerous perspective, and I hope it dies out.
I don't know. I think it's fine to be a little sensitive to different people in different fucking genres and shit. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And like I said, when it comes to God of War, I don't need to have a sex scene in fucking new God of War games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm older. I could look at porn when I want to jerk off to porn. Like, you know what? Like, it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Instead of "Make America Great Again," I think I want a shirt that says "Make Video Games Edgy Again."
Wow, you're really gay. Holy fuck.
Look, I'm a Christian, but I don't want every game I play to have some kind of Christian message in it. I just
then you're not a true Christian, huh?
Want games to be what they've always been.
Didn't you just say this game was too woke because the girls weren't hot or something?
Edgy, fun, a place to...
I'm sorry, you're insinuating that this is an edgy, fun game, but this is the newest Mortal Kombat, it looks like, and you just said that this was too woke now. So this is weird that you'd show this on the screen when you're talking about being edgy again, because that is the implication of the card he put on there. His own video can't keep its pace of itself. It's only 20 minutes long.
To mentally escape from the world. And it's
Well, apparently, because you're a fucking baby that can't deal with the world.
Woke ideology that is directly attacking this right now. And these people need to be stopped because they're trying to take our present, current day shitty politics and they're trying to insert it in games. And we just want games to stay what they've always been. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Bye.
Okay.
You know, I think we got to bring masculinity back to games, dude. Bring masculinity back to games. Get this fucking pussy out of here. No more weak men, dude. Fuck this guy.
Thank you for the $2 from Nico. I got paid last Friday. Here's a couple bucks. I appreciate that, baby.